dad preparing the hot guava juice. Though throughout the middle part, she has those arguments with the father. But in the climax part, she realized how cooking has affected, how cooking is a metaphor of how she should treat her life, right? So you can try to play around with different emotions in your story. Don't just make it plain. It will be too boring. Secret number 5 is create a callback moment. What is a callback moment? It's a technique that comedians often use, in which a joke alludes to a previous joke. So a joke builds up from the previous one in the setup and to add more laughter. So the purpose of it is to make the story feel more cohesive, to create more connection from story to story. So the callback, how can we use callback in our story? The slogan, right? The slogan I just mentioned, when you have like one sentence that represents your whole story, you can try to bring that back. So in Dhanajaya's speech, I see something, I strongly recommend you to check it out. It used different story, but at the end, it all ties to I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. And every time when he says that, the audience laugh. Yeah, and that builds out different emotion, and that's how he won the championship. Yeah, it's like one of the best speech you can see. Yep. So how can we create a callback moment with the same story structure? So in Dhanajaya's speech, he started introducing I see something probably here, and then throughout the middle part of his speech, he created 3 stories. One's about his mentor, one's about he joining the Toastmaster Club, and one is about he asking his wife why did she marry him. Every time when the conversation finished, he brought out, I see something in you. And at the end, he concludes his speech with, ladies and gentlemen, when I see your eyes today, I see something in you. The whole audience laugh and shout out like happiness. This is how I organize my speech. So again, we saw the previous story structure, right? You have a beginning, you have different stories, and you want to connect everything with your core value. So I use my best friends, sticky notes. When I think about a story, a message, I will immediately write it down. And I will organize it in a way, opening, body, and conclusion. It's just like creating mind mapping, right? You try to organize everything together. But when I wrote my speech, I don't write it right away. I might create an outline, but what I did first is to put down different ideas. I might put down a sentence, a slogan, right here, right? And then I might think about different story I can share relating to the slogan, to the value I want to share with the audience. So before I really write the whole paragraph, I will look at this board first and see if everything makes sense. In this way, I don't spend much time writing and revising. I need to make sure my structure makes sense. Then that's how I start writing my story, my speech. Practice. Yes. Who says practice makes perfect?
Godfather.
Godfather, Curry, yes. Practice as much as possible in front of an honest audience. Who are the honest audience? It might not be a Toastmasters. Because usually in Toastmasters, we speak good things. We give a sandwich evaluation. Oh, your speech is awesome. However, you might want to try to ask a friend who's not a Toastmasters to listen to your speech. if you can have an impact on them, you can have an impact on everyone else. Who is this guy? Do you remember this person? The keynote speaker in fall conference where Lisa was the CEO. Do you remember?
Ask Lisa.
Darren LeCoy. And his famous line is stage time, stage time, stage time. When you have a stage, when you have an opportunity, you should try to practice, not just in the Toastmasters Club. Yeah. So when I prepare my speech, then guess how many times have I practiced?
50.
50. Okay, Aiden, give me a number.
30,
30. David, give me a number.
80.
80. Okay. Lisa, how many times did you think that I rewrote my script?
Rewrote.
Rewrote my script.
30.
30. Wow. 30. The whole year. Okay. So the first speech, I rewrote my speech. Like I have 2 major revisions. I have 17 minor revisions. This one means I rewrote it completely, different stories. I practiced more than 100 times in a club, at home, and outside. And I went to 8 different clubs to practice. And this year, again, I only rewrote it once, but I still have 17 revisions. More than 100 practice, and I practice at 5 different clubs. In addition to practice indoor in front of the Toastmaster stage, I also go to a park and just present, practice in front of unknown audience. I even use a microphone and talk out loud. Yeah, that's how much practice I have in this to prepare a competition speech. But that's for a competition speech. For normal speech, you don't need to be so hardcore. However, if you want to improve, if you want to be like flawless and look good in front of the audience, yes, practice is a very big secret that you have to put more effort into. Secret number 7 is to visualize rather than memorize. Okay, this is a tips for beginners. When I first joined Toastmasters, I did memorize my speech. So usually, this is what beginners looks like, right? You just talk, you just talk, you just talk. But the more you practice, the more you understand how to write a story. You might even have a role play in your speech. And when you have a role play, obviously you are playing a different person, right? And when you're preparing a speech with props or with imaginations, you started to build a level that you had to visualize. You had to imagine there's a person right there and just talking to them. Now you're arguing with them, right? And that also, you have to add the emotion in it. So don't just try, your mind is not here. Your mind is here and the audience. But that requires practice. But the more you practice, I want you, for all the experienced speakers in the audience, I want you to think about visualization is very important. Imagination is very important. Secret number 8, tell yourself that you are better than your audience. I believe someone said you had to believe in yourself. Any, right? Is there any? Yes, right? The secret of an awesome speech is to believe in yourself. So next time when you come to the stage, before you come onto the stage, you have to tell yourself, I can do it, right? I have prepared this for so long and I'm gonna share my knowledge with the audience. And why do I use a dance photo? Because for dance competition, every time when we go onto the stage, there is a section called marshalling, where all the dancers line up, and they had to take their partners to the stage. And I remember my teacher told me once, Jason, you had to believe you are the best on that dance floor. And I use that mindset in all my competition speech. Today, I'm going to present to my audience what I have prepared in the past 6 months, and I'm gonna impress them with how the effort that I have prepared and practiced. So it's the same mindset with marshalling on the stage. You cannot have yourself defeated before you come on to the stage, right? Your mindset has to be ready. You have to tell yourself you are ready. You are better than your audience. Then you can speak comfortably. Yeah. So today I have prepared 8 different secrets. There are obviously more secrets out there. Here, this is the 8 secrets I believe will be useful for all the beginners or the new Toastmasters in this room. Last, I have a question for all of you. This is a question that I asked 2 years ago when I won 2nd place. I also delivered another presentation in our club. So I asked the audience this question: how far are you willing to run, and how hard are you willing to try? How far are you willing to run, and how hard are you willing to try? If you want to become a speaker, a great speaker, or awesome speaker, even a professional speaker, it's like running a marathon. You cannot do it one day. It takes practice, practice, and practice. Right? And before you're able to run a 21K, 42K, you require lots of practice. But first of all, you have the determination to join that marathon run and to reach that final destination. That's how far are you willing to run. How hard are you willing to try? Coming to a meeting, prepare fully for the meeting, supporting your members with valuable evaluations, joining a club, joining an officer team, joining different training, provide training, share experience, and practice maybe 100 times for your competition speech. That will be the second question. How hard are you willing to try? For 6 years, I have grown from a very introvert kid to now I believe now I'm quite more confident. I still have stage fright. My tongue still got tight because I might not speak English that often. But I'm in my journey to finish my marathon race of becoming an awesome speaker. Thank you.